Welcome back here to Austin's Hot Rod Garage. I think that's what this channel is going to be called. I think I'm setting to it. I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? Anywho's, so we got the customer car in here. It's the 1969 Ford Bronco. Yeehaw! And body work on this, primarily patch panels. What we are doing today is I'm trying to set myself up for some production welding. If you've ever done metal work, welding, stuff like that, controlling heat is key. So what I'm trying to do here is get a bunch of patches tacked in. You got to be careful depending on the size of the patch you're doing and stuff like that, so you're not losing structural and turning the car into a wet spaghetti noodle. But basically, the reason I'm doing it is because I have a young daughter and her bedroom is pretty close to where the shop is. And I don't want to risk waking her up, running a grinder, running body hammers and stuff like that out here. So what I'm trying to do here is set myself up to be gainfully employed, on nights when she's home asleep and I can sneak out here at night and get some work done. So what I've got right now is I've got this floor patch panel tack welded in place. Started kind of skip welding around on that a little bit, and then I've got a little inner structure for this roof tacked in right there. I'd already patched the roof up out here where it was showing daylight through there. Got that all patched up, so remade the inner structure and got that tack welded in place to get that ready to go. What we're working on right now is these taillight housings. So, as you can see here, there's a part missing here, which was this. So, as you can see, dented pretty severely, giant hole, a bunch of rust in it. That's on like that. There's some more cut out of it, but I saved this inner structure, so I kind of cut it out in a couple of pieces to be able to do that. And then this was all rotted through right here, this little inner support. So I just scabbed a new piece in there and butt welded it there, drilled some holes and spot welded it along the bottom, just like how it would have been from the factory. Cleaned these welds up a little bit. And then there was a giant crease. You can kind of see right here where there's some, discoloration or whatever. That was actually my dolly sliding across this blasted surface, whatever coating they put on this thing when they blasted it. I'm not the one that blasted it. So took advantage, there's a giant crease, like I said, down this, kind of back quarter panel through this taillight housing and stuff. It was all creased in pretty severely right here. I'm assuming same from this impact blow because it had the crease right here too. So the way I chose to do this was pick a cut that was in a good spot to be able to go patch it. Now there's several ways to go do this, ways to skin a cat, however you want to say it. So what I got here is a new taillight housing from LMC truck. So people have their different preferences. Whatever you want to do is fine for you on what you think is easiest or going to work best, however you want to do it. So I could I could go install this whole patch panel. Some people love doing it that way because then you can't really tell that you did this. And the challenge with that is these things are basically spot welded in place. So it's kind of this game of find the spot welds and drill them out. I recommend not chiseling because then you just end up, prying, chiseling, stuff like that. You end up, whatever you're prying or chiseling off of, you're warping that and creating more work for yourself. And it's just really time. It's a time suck to go find all these spot welds, drill them out, do everything. Feel free, if that's your thing, that's how you want to do it, go for it. I got to keep the yapping short, a little less chitter chatter, a little more pitter patter, get at her, if you know what I mean. Because I don't have much time, so I want to dive right into this and get this going. So basically the way I chose of where to cut this is I wanted it in an easy spot to go weld. You could do this, like I said, a bunch of different ways. Part of the challenge I'm going to have is there's a little dent right here. There's a little dent right there too. That's pretty small. And they're kind of in a bad spot to work out, especially this little crease one right here. I might end up actually trying to weld build that up and then just grind it flush. I think will probably be easiest. This one right in here, again, if I had, you know, I don't know, it's kind of an awkward one too. Fill that with some weld and grind her down and call it a day. These little screw holes are for the license plate bracket from before. I'm assuming they were not on this. So that's what I'm imagining they were for before. Depending, I might just go ahead and plug weld them, and then worst case, you can drill new holes when you go to mount a license plate later on. So that's where I decided to cut it, right? I didn't really want to cut it up in here because this is going to be kind of a bugger to go weld in this shape a little bit. A lot of people can do it. I just didn't want to take the time to do it. I thought about cutting it up higher, but the main reason I chose down here is it's less work to get it out, basically. Basically, the way I did this is I just plunge cut around where I knew this inner structure was here, and then just essentially threw on an old flat disc on the grinder and just made this metal disappear until saw blue line got down, and the metal turned to grinding grit. And then saved that inner structure so I don't have to go rebuild it. And I didn't just cut it out so that way it's stronger, you know, keeps the integrity of this new patch panel I'm putting in. So that's kind of why I decided to do it there. I could do it up higher and do the same thing. It's just more work to go grind all this flush or drill those spot welds out or whatever. Like I said, a bunch of ways you could go do it, but the rest of this is not too bad. It's really just, you know, this dent here and that dent right there. So I wasn't too worried about it. I can deal with those. So I just took a piece of cardboard, wrapped it around here to get my cut line, and then spin you around over here. I left just a sliver of material there because same sort of thing. There was rust and corrosion right up along this edge. So I cut back to hopefully sound enough metal to be able to weld to without getting into where these panels spot weld together, because you have like this end flange on this quarter panel and the flange on the taillight housing that go right there. So that's just how I chose to do it. So now doing it this way, now I have to figure out where to cut this piece to get it to match in here. And I want to try to save as much of this intact as possible. One, because it's good metal. You can reuse it, repurpose it. It's got a lot of good shape put into it, you know. It takes a while to go make this like this curled edge that gives it a lot of strength, and then have these smooth radiuses and stuff in it. So anytime you can save patch panels from stuff, you can always reuse it on something later. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I don't want to just go hack it into a million pieces. Now that being said, there's still a bunch of ways. I'll try and prop you up here. I could also measure down from like this curve, right, which is the same as, should be about the same as that curve, which I think is actually what I'm probably going to do instead of trying to lap this and trace it and stuff. So I'm going to end up cutting this piece more than once, but cut it twice and it's still too short, that sort of thing. So I'm just going to pick a spot here and we'll go to about this radius down, and I need whatever my shortest dimension is because I definitely want to have enough material to cover that. So my shortest dimension there is about 3 13/16. So what I'm going to do from that is just take my piece here and make a little mark. So 3 13/16 was my shortest point. So I know I need at least that much material. So I'm going to go 3.5. Just to ensure I've got some excess. You could go more than that, right? You could give yourself an inch, couple inches. You could go less than that and go pretty tight. You could measure this and get all crazy and try to go, you know, pretty accurate if you wanted to. I'm saying that's going to be good enough because basically what I'm trying to do is just get all of this stuff out of the way, so that way I can hold this piece up a little better, and then I can make some transfer lines to give myself some measurements to go off of. So now, again, as you can tell, this is not going to be crazy accurate, but it's going to get it close enough to get me in a ballpark to go cut this thing down and be able to start kind of dialing my piece in. And this cardboard is not the best thing to use as a straight edge, but come on. You know what? It's gonna work for what we need to do. You could use regular paper for this, whatever. A straight edge, if you have one, will obviously be kind of preferred. But I know that should be plenty long, so that way I can go kind of get this close. Okay, so we got a little rough line on there. Drawn around. Even cheated my line up just a little bit, especially on this side, but even off of my mark. Just some excess to know for sure that I'm gonna be good. I need me some peeper keepers. Okay. Throw on some G-Loves here. Plug in this grinder and get zip zapping away. Hoi-ya! All right, let the sparks fly. Cut this down. It's a good general thing in body work to, if you ever work construction, you've heard to take the line, leave the line, right? You're talking about a difference of like 1/16 to an 1/8 inch of material, especially when you use this fat Sharpie on here. Depending on which side of the line you cut, you're talking about leaving or taking an 1/8 of an inch of material. So for this, because of what it is, I'm not planning on eating the rest of this, so I'm gonna leave the line. Now you would think that I planned that so this piece wouldn't fall and potentially dent this body panel I'm working right now. Now, we can kind of roughly hold this up and just kind of see what we're working with here. Way long, sitting down there. I can already tell you something I'm gonna have to do to definitely make fitting this a little easier is I'm hung up on this flange that the other panel will weld to. From really being able to slide this and get a look at it. Ooh, I didn't notice that. That's kind of a gnarly look to it there. I don't know how well you can see that because it's all black, but it's got like that weird little half moon cutout thing in it. I don't know, kind of weird. Anyways, what I'm saying is I think I need to zip this off real quick so that way I can really slide it in and get a better look at it, slide it up and down, position it, and get some kind of rough lines of where I need to go trim this again. And then I can groom it from there. And then a little tacky, zippy, zappy, weldy on it goes. So, not gonna even bother elevate it. Yeah, it's this side. So I'm gonna go ahead and just trim this side off. Don't really need to lay it out or anything. Yeah. Cut that side off. I could cut right here in all honesty because I know I'm pretty close to that edge. I might just do, I'm gonna cut on this side. Gets me a little nervous just because that's pretty close to the true edge I'm gonna need here, but it'll be fine. Now, if you guys are new to this stuff and you're wondering what I was doing at the end, I was just deburring it, taking the sharp edge off, so you don't slice up your digits. I don't think I'm at much risk because I'm G-loved up. I gotta go back down. Okay, just kind of see what that looks like. It's hanging down there pretty good. Trying to best line this piece up. So I've got this just kind of crudely slapped over it. Now this is a way you could go do this depending on where your panel's at, right? Is now I could just go trace around this edge and then definitely leave that line, but then I could go cut into the body. So that'd be a pretty easy way to do this. But I don't really want to have to go trim this other side where I showed you that inner structure and everything. Obviously, this is not sitting on quite right because it's held out by where it's overlapped over here. So that's preventing this edge from sliding over. So you can actually already see there's a gap right there, and that's why, is because this is sitting over, right? So it's not time to panic and think I cut it too short or anything like that. So it's kind of a weird one where I'm lined up down here, but I'm not up here, so my piece is sitting tilted back from what it needs to be. So basically what that means is I'm gonna go transfer a mark. So I can see my line here from where I had cut, where I drew my layout to cut, and I actually, because of the gap, I can see it. So I'm gonna transfer that mark on here. And on the other side, I can see where that edge is. So I'll transfer that. I'm gonna cut above it. And that'll give me another good starting point to cut this down and get one step closer to getting this thing trimmed in. Right about there. I do crow's feet, arrows, whatever you want to call them, just because I feel like they are fairly accurate instead of just an 1/8 inch fat line that you're trying to go to. Get down here on the right angle so I can kind of see what I'm doing a little better. Okay. I'm sure some of you guys that are out there might be actual bodywork guys that are just screaming at this video right now saying, what are you doing? There's a faster way, there's a better way, there's a more accurate way. All the things. By all means, comment them down below. I love to learn different ways. I'm just going with what I believe here is going to work and be accurate enough to work. So I've got a line drawn on there. Missed the mark a little bit, whatever. Like I said, I'm going to leave this line. Plan on leaving this long again. This is just to get me close enough now to get my height down, but I want to be able to come back and groom this a little more. And then I'll trim up this side. So now if I come back and check, it's still probably going to have to be trimmed more. But can we be getting closer to where we need to be is the question. Kind of got to play with it just a little bit of what's going to get me close. Which I probably could have done a little sooner. And that would have been not the worst idea. Because basically I need to go transfer this edge onto here because it's not a perfectly, nice cut edge. Or I can grind this back a little bit, which ain't exactly the worst idea either. I might actually take that route. Because like right about there is pretty close to where I need to be. So I've got it kind of pressed up into shape there. So now I can go trace this backside of this here with it pressed. There's some spots that are gap, that's okay. Or I can just go trim my other piece. So I'm trying to think here is what I'm getting at. I might actually just trim this back a little bit. Now remember, it's pretty easy to take material off. Once it's gone, it is gone. It's already getting quite a bit better. Curvature of this piece is a little out too. Just kind of fighting me. It's a little bit off, is what I'm saying. What does it look like if I just line the top edge? Sticks my bottom out pretty good. So what I'm going to do here, how close am I height-wise? So we might just kind of send this a little bit. What I mean by that is grind this edge. This side I cut farther away from my line than this side, so it's part of my fitment issue here. So I'm going to take this side back closer to the line. Now this is again where the more accurate layout you give yourself, right? Obviously the easier time you are going to have fitting this all together. Well, where are you happy? Close to there. Still, this top edge is fighting me from getting in there, so now it's just going to be a little groom as we go. Now, a couple of things here to remember, right, is I'm worried about this face being smooth, this face being smooth, this face being smooth, as well as this way being natural. I care about all of it, is what I mean by that. So I'm going to take some off there. This is where you can lay it out, you can do whatever, or you can just start kind of grinding the place. What I didn't do there, that I'll show you this next go around, because I'm sure I'm going to have to grind it more, is a nifty little trick here. What is going on? You don't make no sense. Can you just get fit up? Don't like it. What I was getting at is draw a Sharpie line on here, and then that lets you know how much material you're taking off. Where's this little piece at? So that's definitely a part of it. So you see my difference there? How this piece, this end right here is not matching up with this piece. That's the problem. That I'm running into. So I need to kind of work this out a little bit. Give it some body weight and see what it thinks to. Hello. See what it thinks to that. Trying to decide here is it shape or is it excess material holding me up, if that makes sense. Well, that's pretty close there. If I could just trim this corner, I'm thinking. That may get me to within all I really need to get here right is close enough that I can start tack welding it, and then I can hammer this into shape to go match the curvature of what's there. If you're picking up what I am putting down at you. Oh yeah, we're getting pretty close. Do that again. As you see, it's a little bit of a tedious process doing it this way, right? I gotta grind, check fit, grind, check fit, grind, check fit, grind, check fit, grind, check fit. But like we were talking about at the beginning of this video, right? There's a bunch of ways to go do this. What are you doing? You silly goof. A bunch of ways to go do this. Now what I want to know is, so I'm pretty good there. Well, what I want to know here is if I sent it and tacked an edge here, would I be close enough to manipulate this piece into shape? That's pretty close there. Again, just kind of taking my time here. As I've said, once the material's gone, it is gone. What did I do with my cap? There's my cap. I don't think I have time to go set the welder up and get this tacked in, but I think that's basically where we are at here. Hey. I could go even set like a backer piece in this, and that would give me something to kind of work this metal to. But so what we are going to do, we're going to line up this top edge and this top edge and get this edge close. And then from there, so right about there-ish. Like I'll hold this right about there, throw some tacks along this edge where it's good, and then start dollying and hammering this into the shape that I need where it is off. So I'll tack this top edge along here. Like I'll probably start with it about right in there, because that's pretty good on this radius. Get that radius good and this edge kind of lined up, and I'm close here. Throw a tack, throw some tacks here, throw some tacks here, and then I'll really work this edge in and kind of drive this bottom end of it in, and then we'll be home free. So it's trimmed down, ready to go. Just got to weld her up, do a little bit of fitting, and we'll be good. So let me check what time it is. Yeah, it's time. I gotta stop. I gotta go feed the dogs, get those furry hooligans out, go pick my daughter up, that stuff. But this was pretty quick. I mean, this was an hour, a little less than an hour, and the piece is ready to go. You know, this will take me real quick tomorrow to go get this set up. I'll try to bring you guys along and get a little video made of that one. That way you guys can see this all the way through to the end and know that I'm not just going to go buy another piece and start over because I screwed it up or anything. But I'm pretty content with it. I think it's close enough. It's going to work out just fine. Takes a minute to kind of play with the piece to get it lined up. This is kind of a tough one, right, where there's so many curves that all come together. You know, it's not like a floor plan where it's flat. Well, you could do this different ways, right? Like I could focus on lining up this edge, and then I could pound this in, you know, work this edge to get it. I just think for what I'm going for, this underside of the car doesn't matter to me as much as this edge does here, because you're going to see this really well. So I want that to look really like it flows. So anyways, I got to get cleaned up, get out of here. As you guys can see, this is not complex. I did not spend much time on this. I did this real quick, down and dirty. That's pretty well fit up right there. Ready to tack within priable reason for sure. Not all gappy. Let's see if I can move you around here. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's close enough. It'll work. Like I said, we'll hammer and dolly, push pull, and get her done. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for all your support. Stay tuned. Plenty more to come from. Like I said, we still got to get this piece welded in. Nothing left to do except for all of it. Get out, work on your guys' projects, do your thing.